Hello, hello, welcome on. What a game we. Hello, hello, welcome on. What a game we just had. Just sorting out the ending of the Cavs and Warriors game one. Some shenanigans going on, but looks like the score is going to end 122-114. Golden State over Cleveland in overtime. We're just going to post the live stream to a few of these social media channels, and then we'll get into a bit more of a deeper dive into this game. So just bear with me. Quite the game, nonetheless. I think everybody got their money's worth in terms of what they were looking for in this game, because I know a lot of, and rightfully so, a lot of people thought that this was going to be a blowout, and it's good to see that now we have a bit of a series, and it took LeBron getting 50 points to get there, but we'll see. Again, just give me a minute to get going here, and then we'll get into the live breakdown. The game's finally ended 124-114 for the Warriors. And again, we're just going to get this last one out. All right, my screen's looking a little bit orange, but whatever. Nonetheless, let's get into it. So, 114, sorry, 124-114 win for the Cavaliers, and some of the things that really just stood out to me right away is right what I saw the first quarter is that defensively, it's clear that the Cavaliers watched some of what the Rockets did to shut down the Warriors, because right on that first couple plays, I think it was like 1 minute in, there was complete switching on all of the Warriors' actions, and you saw right away that LeBron actually blew up one of the actions. And took the ball down for a layup. And right away, that I think took the Warriors a little bit, kind of sharpened their minds and says, okay, we might have prepared for a more traditional pick and roll defense that the Cavs want to play. But I think the Cavs kind of surprised the Warriors in a lot of the switching, which was kind of instrumental, at least in the first quarter, to them holding serve here. So let's pull up some of the stats we got going here as well. So let's go quarter by quarter here. So the first quarter, Cleveland 30, the Warriors 29. And I thought Cleveland actually just did a great job of really getting some good looks at the rim. A lot of them courtesy of LeBron James. A lot of the times he was going to his right, and they were trying to get Steph Curry again in the pick and roll action, similar to what the Rockets did, again, exposing Steph Curry for his lack thereof defense in terms of compared to the other people on the floor. And LeBron was getting to the rim one-on-one. He was KD, another guy, was taking a little bit of tough shots, and you saw again that switching defense really did a lot of what we saw similar to KD in the first quarter. I think he was only 1 of 8. I think he was only 2 of 9 up until the end of the second, where he started going off a little bit. But again, took him out of his rhythm a little bit, and something else that actually killed the Cavs and really killed them in this game is the minutes of Jordan Clarkson. Jordan Clarkson was just absolutely awful. Offensively, he was doing absolutely nothing for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Let me pull up, see if I can pull up his stats here. So Jordan Clarkson played 17 minutes, in which he scored 4 points with 3 rebounds on 2 of 9 shooting. He was 0 of 3 from downtown. He was actually a +8 in his minutes, surprisingly. He did have a couple good strips on Durant and things of that nature, but overall, at least from an offensive perspective, he was just absolutely awful, killing the Cavs in his minutes on the floor. And I was really considering, like, do we think that maybe Rodney Hood or Chetty Osman would be able to give better minutes than Jordan Clarkson? I mean, he's just taking bad shots, and I mean, the minute he comes in, he's just firing up absolute bricks, and it's just so discouraging just to see him blowing stuff like that. So hopefully they'll go back and look at the tape. Maybe Jordan Clarkson isn't a great matchup in this series, in all honesty, just because he gets bullied a little bit defensively, and we just saw offensively what he his limitations in terms of his shooting and some of the decision making that was going on the floor. So not great, not a great game from Jordan Clarkson whatsoever. But like I said, LeBron in the first quarter started 4 of 4, was getting really great looks at the rim, not shooting too many threes, but again was able to get to his right hand, drive by a lot of those isolation guys, and just use his size to be able to protect the body, protect the ball, and finish over top of length at the rim. And that was huge. That was huge for the Cavs, because that was their main source of offense in that first quarter. But yeah, it was crazy nonetheless. And forgive me, I have so many notes that I took. I took them possession by possession here. So I just want to see if I can just read it and pick anything up. I just want to talk about Draymond Green, because Draymond Green had an excellent game here. He played 47 minutes, but had 13 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists, 5 steals, 3 blocks. He was 5 of 9 from the field, 2 of 5 from downtown. He made only 1 free throw, but he was a +11 in those 47 minutes. And he only had 2 turnovers as well, and he was just excellent, especially on the defensive end. You could just see that in the first quarter, he was forcing J.R. Smith off switches into tough shots. That was not working whatsoever, along with Jordan Clarkson. And then LeBron tried to put him in the pick and roll action. He was able to break up and get his hands in the passing lanes in that instance as well. And then I think in the third, Korver tried to take a shot in the corner, and there you go, Draymond's contesting it again. And so he was just absolutely everywhere in all aspects of the game, whether it be help defense at the rim. There was a few times, I think one time he got beat by Kevin Love backdoor on a play that got him a layup. But again, there was no weak side help after that. But I thought Draymond had an excellent game. I thought he was just kind of all over the place, really. Aside from Stephen Curry, I thought that he was probably the best player for Golden State in this game. And if that's the case, that's really a problem for the Cleveland Cavaliers. I mean, he was missing his shots, and there were so many open shots that he got that he was just absolutely just missing. And it was just not good for Draymond Green. But nonetheless, he's obviously, as Draymond's moniker is he finds other ways to make an impact for this team defensively, as well as making decisions in transition. I counted a couple times in the third and fourth where he was pushing it up, directing traffic. He directed Livingston to set a pin down for Clay, which they got an open 3 off that, and as well was able to defend in the fourth, in overtime, was able to defend a shot at the rim, take that ball, push it in transition, and again find Clay in the corner for an open 3 that was an absolute onslaught in the overtime series there. So absolutely incredible game there from Draymond Green. And it's tough if you're a Cavs fan right now because LeBron, like, what more could LeBron have done? Like in the first half, let me go to my first half notes. It was tied 56-56 at halftime. And so LeBron had 24 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, and he was 9 of 11 from the field and only took 1 3-pointer, 5 of 6 from the line. And it was a lot of relatively easy shots for LeBron. I alluded to it earlier. He was getting to the rim, getting to that right hand, blowing past it, and the help defense really wasn't there and was just not helping at all whatsoever. And that, to me, is just a sign of how great, not only how great he is, but just how little you're getting from other guys because you're resorting for LeBron to blow by his guy and finish through contact over the help defense because you see so many times LeBron was, driving and getting that penetration into the lane, and he was trying to find guys like, Jeff Green, Kyle Korver missed a couple shots. J.R. Smith was absolutely awful in this game. He missed a couple shots. And there was a time where I think the Cavs were 5 of 20 from downtown. And even if you can get 2 or 3 more of those, you're looking at a much closer game now, at least coming down to the end where they lost by 10 points. So it's just crazy, and I don't think it takes a genius to really understand that LeBron's going to need some help. You can't expect a LeBron 50-point game every night and for you to win because even on nights when he's uber efficient and just even giving the effort defensively in some cases, had a few lapses on the weak side, but was able to get one of those signature blocks down there late and things of that nature. So he just needs help. He just needs help. And I think that this kind of falls on Ty Lue as well because he needs to be able to find the cohesive 5-man units that are actually going to work and be able to help LeBron when he's off the floor. Now, having said that, when LeBron sat, I think in the second quarter, he sat at about 6:30 something, 6:47 or something along those lines. He took a seat, and in those 3 minutes, it wasn't actually a death trap for Cleveland. They were actually able to survive his minutes on the floor. They actually outscored them 7-5 in LeBron's minutes on the bench. So it's good. That's a good sign for Cleveland that they're able to survive those minimal minutes when LeBron is off the floor. But the fact of the matter is that when LeBron is setting you up for wide open threes and things of that nature, you need to be able to knock those shots down because it's just as simple as that. Like, these open threes have to go down if you're going to beat this all-time great Golden State Warrior team. It's just as simple as that. I don't know what else I can say there. But again, 56-56 at halftime. Steph had 18 points, 7 of 12 shooting, 6 assists. Golden State was getting a lot of their points in the first half in transition off of good defense and pushing off of misses as they do usual. Good ball rotation as well. Got a couple good open clay threes. Some nice paint catches where the defense wasn't in position, or there was a nice seal where there was an easy 2 at the rim. I mentioned again, Warriors KD, a little bit of a struggle at 2 of 9. Took some tough shots. Ended 4 of 11 for 11 points in the first half, though. So he wasn't too bad. Came around after a couple nice transition dunks that the Warriors were able to get there. Draymond, again, I mentioned he was all around great in the pick and roll and help defense in isolation, especially in the first quarter. From the Cavs' point of view at halftime, they had, and again, for Golden State, 47 possessions for Golden State in the first half, and 46 for Cleveland in the first half. Cleveland turned it over on 17% of their possessions in the first half, but also had a 37% offensive rebound rate. Golden State didn't have a single offensive rebound in the first half, not a single offensive rebound in the first half. And that was a big source of a lot of the Cavs points, is those little putbacks around the rim via Larry Nance, who was also giving them excellent minutes. That was one guy who was one bright spot for the Cavs, is Larry Nance, who was giving them excellent minutes, being able to be effective not only in a couple post-ups where he's able to get all the way to the rim by backing down, but being there for offensive rebounds, tips, keeping balls alive, get a couple tip-ins off some LeBron misses. So Larry Nance was excellent in his minutes on the floor pretty much all around. I didn't really see him make too many mistakes. Only positive things I saw from Larry Nance. And As I mentioned, a lot of the switching from Cleveland, except a couple of times, and I guess this will kind of transfer over here into the third quarter, where JaVale McGee actually got started for the Warriors. So again, 0 offensive rebounds for the Warriors in the first half. There, Steve Kerr clearly said, "Hey, we need to get some energy and something." On the glass, whether that be just about anything. So McGee starts the second half, and I guess what happened was in the first 3 minutes, I guess the Cavs thought, okay, they're going to start JaVale McGee. We're going to hunt him on defense. So the first couple plays, they hunted McGee and got him switched onto LeBron James on the perimeter. And LeBron tried to go left. McGee cut him off. He pulls it back out between the legs a couple times, tries to go right, and McGee cut him off. Absolutely excellent. And then he did bite for a pump fake that LeBron kind of went on. But it also, that position ultimately ended up in the turnover. And coming down the floor the other way, I believe it might have been after another Cavs miss, but I think coming down the floor, they ran a Curry, Klay Thompson, Curry and Klay Thompson pick and roll, in which the Cavs were using the strategy of actually hedging with JR and Corver. So a lot of the time they were switching on a lot of these actions, but specifically on the Curry Thompson pick and roll, they were doing the hedging where the guy would just kind of go and guard the screener and then rotate all the way back to his man. And he was able to find JaVale McGee there for an easy dunk as he set an awesome screen on the backside there as well. So JaVale McGee did some excellent things. And again, Draymond was able to find JaVale McGee in a couple 3-on-2 short roll situations as well as in transition too. So JaVale McGee was really kind of instrumental in sparking a nice little run at the beginning of the third quarter there. It was looking like another one of those Curry flurries, another one of those Golden State third quarters where they blow you out of the water. And it was 66-59 with about 9 minutes left. And then we saw JaVale McGee missed a dunk. George Hill, started pressuring Klay and it forced him to get a miss on the baseline. And oddly enough, I saw at this point of the game, LeBron James hadn't taken a field goal until 6:47 into the third quarter, and played obviously all of the third quarter up to that. And I guess he was just kind of seeing that it was just time for it was just enough of that shit, essentially, is what LeBron said. And he made his first shot was a transition 3. And then McGee went back to the bench. George Hill picked up his 4th foul. And essentially the Cavs were able to respond to that Golden State flurry that they built up and kind of keep it within, I think about 5 points kind of throughout the third quarter. And then a personal 7-0 run from LeBron as he got himself up to 31 points on 11 of 13 shooting with 5 assists there midway through the third quarter. And that was what got them back and had the lead. And he was just taking that momentum, continuing to push forward and continuing to carry this team offensively down the stretch through his traditional LeBron playmaking. And then towards the end of the third quarter, the Cavs resorted back to some poor defense. There was a poor transition defense from the Cavs that led to a Livingston dunk. There was bad communication on some Warriors swing actions that were going on. And before you know it, it was 82-75 with about 1 minute and 20 seconds left in the third. And Corver and JR were getting mixed up on switches and stuff like that. Again, I mentioned JR had just an awful game, especially defensively. And then we'll get into the play at the end in the second here. But just the main thing I took away from that third quarter was the JaVale McGee minutes. In those 6 minutes he was on the floor, the Warriors were able to build up a lead, and although the Cavs were able to respond, it forced the Cavs to respond. It made them play their hand. It made them exert that effort to come back, and that was, I think, huge for the Warriors there in the third quarter. So now we move to the fourth quarter. So this is right off the bat, Draymond blocks a Corver 3 in the corner, and then Jeff Green, and I think the Warriors missed or turned it over on a play, and then Jeff Green comes back and gets a transition dunk. And then this is where we started to see down the stretch 3 or 4 possessions in a row where the Warriors went to that Steph Curry, Klay Thompson pick and roll, and again, that hedging strategy that they were using with Jaren Corver wasn't working. And you could see that they were going at that action repeatedly until they could find some lapses. And it got Clay for a couple mid-range jumpers and all of that sort of stuff, and it just wasn't working. And then the one time where they were able to get back, and Korver was able to get back to Clay as he was setting the screen, he actually fouls him shooting a three, and I think the Warriors are back up 8 or 9 at that point. And then back-to-back threes, courtesy of LeBron, nice LeBron James passes to Jeff Green, and then Kyle Korver gets them back within one. And then we get down to the 94-92 stretch from 5:51 down, which was just kind of a little bit of a bizarre stretch. But here's how I kind of wrote it down and broke it down for my notes here. So the offensive rebounds at this point were killing Golden State, and that's how they were able to get those 2 back-to-back threes to cut it to 1. Down the stretch here. So Draymond finally hits a 3, just off of leaving him wide open. He hadn't been making those all game, and finally he was due for one and hit one. And then the Cavs miss on the other end, and then here comes Curry back on the other end, and a nice drag screen from KD gets Kevin Love onto Stephen Curry, and then the slick crossover 3 gets back-to-back threes for the Warriors, and they're up 100-94. And then at this point, Love is also 0 of 6 from 3, which has been killer. Again, a couple of those threes would have really helped. And so I think out of that timeout, I'm not sure what they drew up or what the out of timeout play was, but JR comes and basically just thinks he can put Draymond in the mix and takes a long step back two for just an awful shot and giving the ball right back to the Warriors. And I just thought that I said, wow, you really needed a bucket there. 100-94, again, about 5 minutes left. You really need to make sure you're getting good possessions down the stretch against this Warriors team. And that's what you settled for. And that was just a disappointing time in the game for me. Just really would have liked to see the Cavs get something better out of that personally. And then another layup for LeBron. He was able to get to his right hand again. There was only a couple times where Golden State was able to force him to his left, and I think that they were successful on those, if I'm not mistaken. There was a couple times LeBron was turning the ball over, wasn't exactly able to drive through the defense going left. And so a lot of his layups came going right, and I'm sure that's something the Warriors are going to look at on film for game 2. But and then another awful shot from KD right back down. And another thing about KD too, just on the topic, is I think KD in this series and in the Rocket series as well has done a poor job of fighting for post position and doing his catch or doing his work before the catch. A lot of NBA people and a lot of NBA trainers say the post up, 80% of your work is done before you catch the ball. So that means being able to box out your guy, understanding where you want to catch the ball, understanding what you want to go to. But Durant was just allowing Jeff Green to push him out further and further on the block. And the next thing you know, KD is catching the ball outside the 3-point line. And that's just not as big of an effect when you're on 5 on the shot clock. Sometimes when KD was catching the ball, it's not an effective strategy to be able to attack from out there when you only have so many options in terms of being able to drive and kick. And that's why I think Durant was settling for a couple bad shots, just because I don't think he was working hard enough to get the ball off the catch, and just again, just getting a little bit shoot over the top happy, if you will, where he just thinks he can shoot over anybody at times. And he can, don't get me wrong, but sometimes it's just not the best shot for him, and he resorts to that a little too often. And I think that was evident here at some points in this game, at least. So another dunk for LeBron. I know it sounds ridiculous, so many dunks, but he was just, all of his points came off shots directly at the rim, and then a couple 3-pointers. And then right after LeBron gets that dunk with 2:45 left, Curry turns the corner after that hedging strategy, turns the corner on Love and gets to the rim with the left hand. And then here, when we get down to 2 minutes left, this is where we started seeing basically the Cavaliers, every time on offense, they're putting Curry in the pick and roll, trying to get him on LeBron. And then the same thing with Kevin Love onto Stephen Curry or to Kevin Durant. They're just looking to try and get him and put him in the pick and roll action where they can just exploit him on defense. And that's what they went to down the last 2-3 minutes of the game, is just strictly that on both sides of the offense. So Curry wasn't able to capitalize, I think, getting on that. And then Kevin Love with a massive 3. He had a massive 3 after going 0 of 6 up into that point, and to cut the lead down to 1 to 102-101 Warriors. And After that, Curry went down the floor and took a like it almost went in, but it was a leaning banker from about 15 feet out. Really tough shot from Curry, not the best shot at that point. And so now there's 1 minute left, again, 102, 101. And so LeBron goes up top, ISOs on Steph, and he drives right and finishes through the contact at the rim for the and one. And that had 47 for LeBron, making it 104, 102 Cavs. And if you just see this finish, again, it was very similar to most of the finishes that he was able to get to the game. He went right by him, right by his man. I think it was Steph on defense. He went right by Steph, and Looney rotates over and puts his arms down over top of LeBron, and then was able to force the foul. And that was and that was it. But if you were just able to see the play, LeBron so strong and being able to finish through contact like he was just absolutely incredible. So 104, 102 Cavs after he hits the free throw. So with 50 seconds left, LeBron, KD goes and he's driving by, going left, and LeBron slides over, trying to get the charge. And they originally called it a charge, and they went back and reviewed the call. And we're just kind of discussing it over, and then eventually called that a block. So they called it a block on LeBron James, and I believe KD hit one of two free throws or both free throws. I can't remember exactly. And then right after he hits, I think it was both free throws, LeBron James, out of the timeout from Ty Lue, takes the ball and goes right to the rim for another layup going right again, and was able to get the 2-for-1. And that was 49 points for that point at LeBron James. And now Curry goes right on the other end, in transition, again pushing it, goes right by JR and gets the and one with the contact from Love, hits the free throw and makes it 107-106 Warriors with 23.5 seconds left. And so the Cavs call a timeout. Looking for this kind of the same, they didn't call a timeout. The Cavs did not call a timeout. James goes and basically was looking for the switch. They were reluctant to switch Curry onto James, but eventually he got it. And then James, I guess, was right at the top of the key, just inside the 3-point line with about 9 seconds left. And you can see he's holding the ball away from Curry. And I guess he saw George Hill cutting and actually threw the ball to George Hill. And surprisingly, Klay actually fouls George Hill off the ball. And because the Warriors in the bonus, George Hill gets 2 free throws. So 107, 106. George Hill hits the first free throw, and in classic J.R. Smith fashion, George Hill misses the second free throw, and J.R. seemingly had no idea what the score was because he pulls the ball back out thinking that he was up 1, thinking that the Warriors would foul him, but obviously the score was tied 107-107, and so JR doing JR things, plenty of Henny memes and the squinty eye JR memes were all over the internet bashing him about that one. So that was quite funny, but nonetheless, that's what led us into overtime. So 107-107. And in this overtime, the Warriors absolutely dominated. So the Cavs went back to switching those Curry pin downs, but they were able to get some stops on defense, but the fact of the matter is the Cavs could not generate anything on offense whatsoever. So I couldn't remember who was driving to the rim. I think actually it was George Hill who was able to kind of manipulate the pick and roll nicely, where he was able to get 3 guys to screen each other and was going left trying to get to the rim, and Draymond rotates over and was able to contest the shot at the rim and maybe get the block. And then after that, he gets the rebound and he pushes it up court and finds Klay in the corner for a 3. So that was a huge turning point. Got the Oracle crowd going a little bit, and then Curry with a behind the head, pushing it, was able to get it in the pick and roll, and I think through a behind the head pass to Livingston, for a layup. And at that time, it was a 7-0 run in overtime, and it was just looking very glim for the Cavs at that point. The first Cavs 2 points came with 2 minutes to go in overtime. So that's pretty much how you know. And then, again, Cavs were playing the odds, left Draymond Green open for 3, and he hits another 3, the second of his 5 on the night. And the Cavs essentially in overtime were outscored by 8 points with 1:23 to go. And despite LeBron's 50 points, they were unable to get it done as we lead to our 124-114 conclusion to this game. My final takeaway is that the Cavs, again, a lot of the switching, they did find a little bit of success in doing that, but I did think that they need to clean up a couple of those lapses, a couple of those rotation helps that got missed. The shooting foul on Clay that gave him three foul shots. These little things are what it's going to take to beat Golden State, especially when you're undermanned from a talent perspective. And so it's tough. It's you have to be near perfect to beat this team when you have the roster constructed as Cleveland. So just and sorry, I don't really want to understate the game of LeBron James because he was just unbelievable. Played 47 minutes, again, 51 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. He got a steal, a block. He was 19 of 32 from the field for 59% shooting, 3 of 7 from downtown. That's 43% shooting, and he was 10 of 11 from the line. Did have 5 turnovers, but just an unbelievable performance from him. And as I alluded to earlier, he's going to need a lot more help if he thinks he's going to win this series because it was just absolutely incredible. Everything was just going the Warriors' way in overtime. That was clearly the difference in this game, I guess, tactically when it comes down to it. Draymond actually in transition was looking, he got caught in the air and was looking to throw a pass to Livingston. It ended up turning into a perfect pin down for Klay Thompson, who caught it and just shot the three. And then that's the game. So game one goes to the Warriors on the road. I think the Cavs did show some good things. They did show a couple good things I think they can kind of take with them into game two. But a couple things that I would kind of suggest right off the bat is you can't play Jordan Clarkson anymore. He was absolutely awful. J.R. Smith is going to have to be better. That's a guy unfortunately you have to play. All things considered, just because of the talent disparity or discrepancy, I should say. And I don't know. It's tough to say anything else other than you need more for the others. I think let me see the 3-point shooting numbers. I'm sure they definitely weren't good from the Cavaliers. 3-point shooting, 10 of 37. 10 of 37 for 27%. That's not going to get it done. You're going to have to hit 5 or 6 more of those to have a chance to keep up with this team. And again, the only guy that gave you double digits was Kevin Love, who had a decent game, 9 of 20. Again, those 1 of 8 from downtown really killed you. You could have used a couple more buckets then. And we know Kevin Love is a liability in the pick and roll, and so that's something else you really have to take into account when you're judging this game and some of these players too. So that will pretty much wrap up game one breakdown here. Was kind of all over the place again, a little bit flustered for my very first game one breakdown here, but going to try to get a little bit more organized, maybe have a structure quarter by quarter. And I saw a couple people pop up in the live chat, which is very cool to see. Good to see you guys are listening. And again, jump in the chat, see if you guys have any more questions, things like that. And the stream will be posted on YouTube of this where you can jump in the comments as well. Looking forward to seeing you in game two, where we will have another live breakdown. Thanks for joining. See you then.